have a really hard time getting rid of books that I have studied in school. I annotate them a lot when I study them. I've written papers on them, and I always feel like if I'm going to be teaching that book in the future, I'm going to want those annotations. So even if I really hated a book, if I feel like it is essential to explain a specific genre or a time period or something like that, then I'm going to hang on to that book. So I still have Mysteries of Udolpho, even though I absolutely hated it. The one book that I got rid of because I just could not stand to see it on my shelves anymore was Tropic of Cancer by Henry Miller. Henry Miller published this book in 1934, and it was made very famous by a 1960s obscenity trial where the judge called it, and I quote, "not a book. It is a cesspool, an open sewer, a pit of putrefaction, a slimy gathering of all that is rotten in the debris of human depravity." All right, that book sounds amazing, right? I have to get my hands on that book right away. I want to see evidence of human depravity. I want to read the cesspool book, the putrefaction book, the open sewer book. Give me that book. But while the Tropic of Cancer does contain elements of human depravity and open cesspool sewers and whatever, it also has one of the most obnoxious, entitled protagonists that I have ever read about. It's this dude who is schlepping his way around Paris, staying with all of these unsuspecting friends for free, eating their food, complaining about their food, complaining about their company, and moving on to the next house. And I honestly don't think that Henry Miller is critical of this character's lifestyle. I think he sees him as this kind of romantic hero who's doing away with the conventions of society that Freud was so down on. But he kind of misses the point because this guy is completely dependent on society, even though he thinks that he's sort of outside society. I just hated this book so much. The famous thing about it is that it's totally misogynistic, and that is completely true. He sleeps with all these prostitutes and then talks about how they were so gross and he didn't even like the sex anyway. Women to Henry Miller are just the sum of their parts. One woman can just be a vagina. That's all that she's good to the protagonist. That's fine. But let me talk about the one thing that is great about this book. It really challenged what we think of as great literature. People were labeling it as pornography. So when the Pennsylvania Supreme Court Justice calls the book a cesspool and says that it is not a great work of literature, Henry Miller, or at least his sort of alter ego in the book, agrees with him. He writes, "This is not a book. This is libel, slander, defamation of character. This is not a book in the ordinary sense of the word. No, this is a prolonged insult, a gob of spit in the face of art, a kick in the pants to God, man, destiny, time, love, beauty, what you will. This, then, is a song I am singing." So it's an examination of poetry through disgust, through the grotesque, and through the just putrid body. So that part of it I liked. The pretentiousness of it, the idea that he was doing something that no one else has done before, and the idea that he had to do that at the expense of women, and specifically women's bodies, is not okay to me. I got rid of my Henry Miller. I stuck it in the little library down the street. You know how people have those little boxes, so that some other neighbor can enjoy this cesspool of an open sewer book.